Clause 5 of ISO 45001 is about the leadership and workers' participation for managing an OHS management system. Clause 5.1 makes it mandatory that the OHS management system must be led by the top management who demonstrate leadership and commitment and take such measures which improve the OHS performance of the organization. The clause explains what the top management of the organization is supposed to do related to OHS management system. The standard puts all the responsibility on the top management and holds them accountable for poor OHS performance which may cause ill health issues or accidents. It must, however, be noted that the top management can delegate its responsibilities, but it cannot delegate the accountability related to OHS performance. So here is another food for thought. Why the top management should be held accountable for any injuries or ill health issues when they have already established, implemented and maintained an OHS management system. Pause this slide and think of the answer before I explain. Simply establishing, implementing and maintaining an OHS management system does not mean that the top management has done its job. They actually need to show commitment to the elimination of incidents and ill health issues. It is their legal duty to ensure the workplace is safe, and they should do anything in order to ensure the risks are minimized as far as reasonably practicable. However, any accident or ill health issue caused by an unsafe act of a worker who was given specific training for the relevant OHS hazards does not make the top management accountable. Clause 5.2 requires that the top management of the organization shall establish, implement and maintain an OHS policy for the organization. The clause also specifies the features of the OHS policy. In simple words, the specific clause requires that the organization must use the specific wording in their OHS policy. For example, we shall focus on the prevention of injury or ill health. We shall set and achieve the OHS objectives. We shall eliminate the hazards and reduce the risks as far as reasonably practicable. We shall comply with the legal and other requirements. We shall involve the workers or their representative in matters related to OHS, and we shall strive to achieve the continual improvement in our OHS management system. Some other requirements for the OHS policy include: it must be commensurate with the organization's context, for example, the risk profile of the organization. OHS policy is a public document and it should be maintained as documented information. Moreover, it should be communicated or made available to all the stakeholders, especially the workers. These are the basic requirements of ISO 45001 Clause 5.2. The organization may add any further commitment in their OHS policy as they wish. For example, we shall deploy engineering controls for the high-risk activities, etc. So here is the food for thought. If the commitments mentioned in OHS policy are genuinely considered, then there shall be no accident or ill health issues. But we often see the accidents and ill health issues occur, albeit the organizations make high commitments. Why is it so? Pause this slide and think of the answer before I explain. There can be two reasons for the OHS incidents and ill health issues, even if the top management has shown high level of commitment in their OHS policy. Number one, the commitment is not practical but only limited to the documents. Number two, the commitment is practical and shows that the organization is doing all efforts through their OHS management system to eliminate the hazards and reduce the risks as far as practicable. However, risks cannot be brought to zero because it is practically impossible for most of the workplaces. So minor accidents or ill health issues may occur but less frequently. Moreover, commitment is the first step to achieving excellence, and there are other factors too. For example, the OHS culture within the organization, which takes time for improvement. However, a continued commitment of the top management to the prevention of injury and ill health shall definitely have significant results in future. Clause 5.3 requires that the responsibilities and authorities must be established. That is, who will do the specific job, for example, who will carry out the risk assessments, who will initiate a permit to work, who will set OHS objectives, who will report incidents, who will measure and monitor the OHS performance, who will analyze the OHS performance, who will take control in case of emergency, etc. This goes down to the lowest level of the organization because in an OHS management system, the involvement and participation of 100% workforce is required. For example, what to do in case of an emergency emergency, that is how to evacuate, Clause 5.4 requires that the organizations shall consult and involve their workforce in decisions related to OHS, and this must be done through a systematic process, and the details of this process shall be documented. If it is a large organization and it is not feasible to consult each and every employee on certain matters, for example OHS policy, then the worker's representative must be consulted and involved in the process. Where needed, the organization must provide training to the employees or their representative for effective involvement in the OHS processes, for example training for carrying out risk assessment, training for emergency evacuation, etc. The organization must also remove any barriers which may stop or discourage employees from participation, for example victimization for highlighting issues or failure to respond to workers' feedback regarding OHS, or any language or cultural barriers, etc. It is a value addition for the organization to consult and involve the workers and their representative on all matters related to OHS management system. The consultation should be carried out on matters related to policy or OHS management system design, development and planning, etc. The involvement of workers must be done for the functional OHS processes, for example risk assessments, emergency evacuation, setting and achieving OHS objectives, etc. Here is another food for thought. How do you think the consultation and involvement of the workers shall be useful when there is a negative OHS culture as well as the workers are not well educated? Pause this slide and think of the answer before I explain. This question can best be responded to when the purpose of consultation and involvement is kept in mind. The purpose is to add value for OHS management system performance. For example, if you order $50,000 worth of personal protective equipment for a workforce and later realize that the workers are not wearing those PPEs because they are not comfortable to wear. There are two aspects to this question. One is consultation and the other one is involvement of the workers. If the workforce is uneducated or there is a negative OHS culture, then the top management may consult their supervisors on their behalf. It should, however, be noted that it is not mandatory for the top management to incorporate all opinions from the workers or their representative. The purpose is to consider them and include them if they can add value. After all, the OHS management system is developed and maintained for their safety and health. As long as the involvement of the uneducated workers is concerned, they still can be involved in risk assessments and emergency evacuations. A worker knows the relevant hazards and is the right person to be involved in the risk assessment process. Similarly, the workers can be involved in emergency evacuation exercises as they will be the ones who shall need to evacuate in case of emergency.